All right. What's up?
So, can you tell me what we're doing? No, I already know. Can you tell everyone else what we're doing?
What do you mean by what we're doing?
Okay, so we're doing another tour.
Yes.
Our first podcast, we talked a lot about the first tour, but we
Yes.
mentioned a new tour.
Okay.
This, going into our 7th year of marriage.
Hey. Shout out to
And
marriage.
2 kids later,
Yes.
we're going to do another tour.
Yes.
Talking to families, couples about how they're living their great unknown
Yeah. How they're
with
stepping
God.
how they're saying yes to the great unknown that God is asking them to step into.
Yes. Can you talk about how this came about?
Okay.
Because, how did you just spring up? We're doing a tour again. It's been 7 years and we got 2 more kids.
Right. Toddlers, not just kids. We have 2 toddlers.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Let's get into it. So, I was working this job. I was working there forever. Not forever. Why did I say that? Forever. I've been working there a little over a year, and it was hard. It was a really difficult job in many ways. It was fun a lot. But there were some difficult things. They were in a transition. I don't think that any of that matters, actually.
What did you do for that job?
I was leading their creative team. I was leading a creative team, so helping them with branding and communication and marketing. Yeah, so when it came to like creativity, copywriting, press releases, designing things for social media, um, yeah, press releases, new product explanations, anything that had to do with branding, marketing, communication. I was lead in that.
Are you still working there now?
No, I got fired.
What happened? Okay.
So, I was getting laid off. I found out I was getting laid off.
Thank you.
What? I found out I was getting laid off, and it was hard. That was hard. That was hard to hear, because I felt like I had given so much and sacrificed so much to be at that job. Like, stayed up nights working on stuff instead of like being with Marisha or with the kids. Or I miss Montana's first day of school. Montana is our oldest, our daughter. I miss her first day of school, like doing work stuff. It was a fun job for the most part, but like I sacrificed so much and was helping them. We were working on rebranding this company that they've been around for a long time. They're a juggernaut in their industry, and was working on rebranding. And in the middle of it, I found out I'm getting laid off because of different decisions that they had made, and that's fine. I was really hurt by that. And since I had been there for just over a year, I had seen like 4 or 5 people leave the organization kind of quietly. No one knew what was going on. And like no one ever knew what was going on. So like nobody really felt, the people I talked to didn't feel secure about their place. And so getting laid off was like, dang, it's happening again. And the reasons that I was given, I didn't agree with, but I had a conviction about the way that things were being done in my layoff that to me did not line up with the way that the organization markets itself or presents itself as being within the industry that we are in, and within the industry that we're in. And over the course of the time when I was learning I was getting laid off, they gave me like a few months' notice, which I appreciate. I just had this conviction more and more every day to talk about what was going on. I felt like the way that they were talking to the company and what actually was the reasons behind it, the way they're communicating to the company about the decisions they were making about my position and what they were telling me did not line up and did not show integrity and the employees at large best interest for the company, because it just felt like the employees wouldn't have any, not power, we all have power, but like that we were at the whim of the organization and we didn't have anything to make our case, anything to, yeah. And so I just had this, so even backtrack even more, I've been seeing a therapist since spring 2021, and she had been helping me. Shout out to, well, let me not say her name.
Thank you.
I've been seeing a therapist.
Maybe, but
well, yeah, I need to talk to her about that before. I've been seeing a therapist to help me work through a lot of these things, and I'm saying that because one of the things is anxiety. And so after finding out I was getting laid off, it was just hard to show up for work. I was anxious every single day and like have these emotional breakdowns after meetings because I just felt like I had to go to work every single day and act like nothing was going on and just take it and grin and be like, yes, I'm so grateful. And it's just like I'm leading some like different teams and different projects, and I'm getting laid off here, but they weren't even calling it a layoff. I'm just summarizing it for y'all. It was like, they're like, we're going to end your position. And it's just like, to me, that's not cool. But anyways, I can take all of that. I've been through stuff. But just over time, I felt a conviction. Not necessarily God telling me to do it, but I felt a conviction in my body, in my soul. Anxious every time. I had anxiety every time I went to work, and my therapist and I mapped like anxiety in my body, and one way we found it is like when I'm being prompted spiritually to do something, I've had anxiety. And so I had anxiety every single day when it was time to log in, all day at work. I would do meditating, all this kind of stuff to get rid of it, and I couldn't. So I'm listening, like, God, what is going on? What do I need to say? And I just felt like, inside of me, I felt like I should say something. But I was like, I'm not going to say anything. It's like 33 of us at this company. So it's not like a huge company, big corporation. But I felt like I should address the company about what was going on. But, like, I knew I would probably get fired if I did, for obvious reasons. So I just put that to the back burner. I just kept doing my work, trying to show up every day, be the best employee, especially as a Christian, like just end well. And it was just so hard. It was so hard. I'll just be crying in between meetings and just so difficult. And just one day that we had a big meeting with all the employees, and they just did something in there that I felt was, I'm gonna keep it real, I just felt it was so fake. How they were talking about what was going on with me, and then some other stuff they were...
Yeah, like explaining to the rest of the company why you're leaving, but not saying... not being honest, basically. Because what they told you isn't what they told the rest of the company.
And at that meeting, I didn't get a chance to talk, but they were promoting... At that meeting, like, we want to hear from everybody's voice. Right. Because these other people were getting promotions. And they're like, yo, let's talk about your promotions. We want to hear from you. And then when it came to me, it was just... They didn't talk about
They didn't let you speak.
They sent an email after that meeting, directly after that meeting. They didn't talk about me in the meeting. After the meeting, they sent an email like, we're doing this for Antoine, blah, 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 on Antoine's behalf. And they wanted me to participate in the writing of that email. But I told them I'm not, unless I get to say the truth, I'm not participating in that email. That's not cool. That's to all my colleagues. Yeah. To all my colleagues that don't feel safe. Like, I'm not participating in that. Yeah. And so they sent that email, and that was the last straw for me, because I'm like, man, that's so fake. And I just broke emotionally. I'm just crying, got on the Peloton bike, just like, God, help me, man. I need help. Like, I need help. This ain't going, like, I need your help. I don't know what to do, man. You know what I mean? Like, God, what do I do? We got a family. We got, like...
It's like showing up.
We're living off one income.
Showing up somewhere every day, giving your all. You know what I mean?
Giving my all.
It's days and nights, like working over what they ask you to work for someone that said they don't like what you do.
Right.
Like, who would want to do that?
Right. And I just want to say, I wasn't a perfect employee. I made a lot of mistakes. There's two sides to this story, and I want to acknowledge that. And I'm not trying to, like, make anybody a villain, but this was just
just what happened.
Yeah, just my experience of it. And so I just
wrote the letter.
I just felt like, this is hard. I just felt like God was like, say it. Like, say what you need to say. And so I put together an email. Because the email was addressed to me in front of the whole company about what's been going on, about, like, what's going to happen with my position in a company.
So you, like, responded?
And so I wanted to respond to that because it's just like, no one's letting me talk. Not that I asked to talk, but, like, there hasn't been a floor for me to talk. But you're going to address me in this email. Like, nah, fam. Like, nah, I'm not a fake dude. I'm not corporate. Like, I'm not going to just do these games of, like, you know what I mean? And so it was just hard. It was taking a toll on my health, mental health, emotional health, just health in general. And so I wrote this letter and about just kind of say, like, hey, this is what's going on. And I feel like if these kind of things were in place as a company, because we're a company that focuses on improvement, we help other organizations improve their organization to be better for their employees. And the stuff that we sell, we're not using in this thing right here. If we had this thing that we sell to other people and used it in our organization, I would not be getting laid off, or I would have the ability to make my case that I shouldn't be laid off if we had this system in place that we sell and make that hundreds of thousands to millions of dollars.
Right, or at least let you speak and
Right.
let your side be out there.
Right, and I understand.
Not hidden.
They're not perfect. Nobody's perfect, but that was my experience. And so I wrote an email about just what was going on, how I see things from my side of point of view, acknowledging I'm not perfect. I made a lot of mistakes, but I feel like if, as a company, we stand for these things and we should have this thing, and I feel like the outcome of what's going on will be different if we had this thing in place.
Yeah.
Since it, and I was just I couldn't even press send, y'all. Like, I was just, like, paralyzed again, like, leaving for San Diego. I was like, I can't do this, God. I can't do this. I'm just sitting there like, I physically can't. And it's just doing this. But I'm like, I can't, God, I can't. And I finally just did it and closed my computer and, like, took the kids
We
out
went
on
to
a walk.
the playground, right?
We went to the playground. I was like, I can't do it. I just walked away. And then on the way home, my coworkers were calling me like, yo, I'm so sorry. Or maybe it was on the way there. No, on the way there, somebody had called me. It's like, I'm so sorry about what happened, blah, blah, blah. Like, basically, I got fired. They sent an email, CEO sent an email, I guess right away, and was like, you're fired. Responding to that to the whole company. I didn't read it. I never read it. By the time I got back to I was like, I'm letting it go. It is what it is. We went to the park with the kids, playground with the kids. People calling me, texting me like, I'm so sorry. That's messed up, blah, 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 da, 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 da. But I had already made my decision. And, we got back home. We made dinner. I was like, I can't. I'm not going to go and look at the computer and look at the emails and look at all that stuff. It's done. Whatever's done is done. I'll look at the computer maybe after the kids go to bed, whatever. So I look later and, like, the computer's locked and I can't get into stuff. They sent me an email about next steps, and that was it. And so, then the next step, man, the next step was like, what are we going to do? As a husband, as a father, as a child of God, it's just like, man, did I make the right decision? Did I do the right thing? Was that the right thing to do?
Can I add something?
Yeah, please.
So I don't think we mentioned this in the first one, but we used to live in Ohio. So like I lived and grew up in LA. He, Ohio, and went to college there. Moved to LA, and that's how we met. We did the tour. We started a ministry in Brooklyn, and ended up in Ohio. Had our 2 kids there in Ohio. And then so when he got this job that we're speaking of now, it's based in D.C., so we moved, the DMV area, so we moved here where we are now. And so...
Yeah, we moved for this job. My accepting the offer was contingent on us moving.
So I just wanted to bring that up to highlight the cost of living difference if we were living in Ohio versus not only the moving cost, but then, just the living cost, and then getting let go from a job where we have no family other than your sister who lives here.
Who just had a baby, though.
Yeah, who just got married and just had a baby. It's just probably a lot of pressure for you.
Yeah. I mean, that's an understatement. And so just like as a husband, just feeling like I failed, like having a lot going on. So thank God for my therapist at that time still helping me work through that. Shout out to our small group.
Yeah.
Helping us work through this whole last 8 months.
Yes.
Without Marisha, small group, working out, therapist, I don't know. I might have, it's been all bad for me.
Yeah, community has been a huge support.
And so I'm looking for jobs So first month, somebody in our community groups actually after that happens was like, I think you need to rest. And I'm like, fam, what do you mean? Like, we need money like today. Like I got a check coming, but like, bro, it was a woman actually. Like, yo, sis, like, nah, bruh. Like we can't. Like, no, what? But I rested. But I feel like God was in that, so I rested. I tried to rest, and that was all of December, holiday season. My sister, brother-in-law, niece came over. We did the holidays together. And then I started looking for jobs in January, which was cool. Started looking for jobs, other kind of, branding, communication, that kind of jobs, copywriting jobs, and started immediately we needed money. And so thank God for all the people in our lives that have been generous, right?
Yeah.
Sister and brother-in-law helped me get up my website. Workwithantoine.com for branding so I can have a portfolio as I apply for jobs. And so I started applying for jobs. I get some bites on some really big churches, one in the area, and then one, if I give you a location, you'll know. But
Not in the area.
Like some pretty, really big churches for some really cool positions at these churches, and some other, private, regular, places to work. And we're interviewing places. One, I've interviewed for this really big church.
For 4 months?
No,
3 months?
Not that one. The first one I interviewed, I had 2 interviews in one day. It went well. She was like, yo, can you see the other people? We're like, yo, yes. And then didn't hear a response. Well, heard later I didn't make it. That was sad. But that was a stretch because I felt like, God, how we going to make this happen if you really want us to be at this church? That's a lot.
Yeah.
But that was a stretch. Then I was working with this other church, she said, just 4 months thing. Reached out in January, heard back, had meetings in person, had phone meeting, a meeting in person. This was spread out over like 2 or 3 week intervals because the communication wasn't the priority. I think they are growing. They're growing a lot at that time, and this person didn't have support. And so going back and forth, but things keep getting better. The pot keeps getting sweeter. And so I get to the point of this final interview weekend. It's like weekend interview, and we're here now. Right. This is like 3 months into it. We've been broke. Trusting the Lord, but we've been broke, kind of just figuring out things and making ends meet. Because, again, our costs from Ohio to here tripled. And we're living off one income. Marissa's at home, loving on the kids, raising them all day. And so we're like finding something else. Unemployment hasn't come through. At the taping of this podcast 8 months later, it still hasn't come through. I can see the money in my unemployment account, but they haven't released it yet. It's crazy. And so we go to this weekend, right? So we got to like do all this work to have somebody watch the kids. Can't even get them watched for the whole time because they're family. They got kids too, whatever. It's my brother and sister-in-law. Like, they did the best they could. But they wanted, like, we were supposed to come to the church for the weekend, stay at a hotel by the church, and then go to, like, 4 church services events in one day. Right. Check out things, talk to people. It was a fast-moving kind of thing. And then...
Bottom line.
And then, Monday I was supposed to have an interview, interview kind of thing. And it was cool, though, because we felt really wanted. Like, they're like, we only do this for people who really want. The person I'm in contact with, like, we only do this for people we really want. The hotel room was fire. Right. They had, like, a welcome package was fire. They gave us a car for the weekend, fire. And it's, like, one of our cars that we want.
So it's like, everybody the decision is like up to us. This is all just for us to
that's how they made it seem.
Be able to say yes or no.
Yeah, like he's like, we want you. We just want you to say yes. And we're like, okay. That means a lot. And I went to dinner with the person who would be my people lead. We went with his wife. Next day we went to church. Next day we had the final interview. We had dinner with some of the team that would be on my team. We had the final interview, and the interview bombs. The final interview did not. Well, let me put it that way. The whole day, it was a whole day of interviews. They went well, but the interview with the pastor, the final interview, was horrible. However, I will say, everybody's interview with me was late. The interview with the pastor was late. He was late. And so I had like an hour with him, which turned into like 20 minutes. And so you can't, in my opinion, you cannot capture somebody who's going to lead a significant part of your ministry in 20 minutes. I don't think that's fair to you, and that's not fair to that person, right? And so, yeah. I asked about money in that interview because they said that was a final interview.
Oh, you just telling it all. Okay.
Why not? I mean...
I'm sitting here thinking like TMI the whole time. But go ahead.
This is our
life. This is our life.
You could tell me, my bad.
He's TMI.
My bad.
Planet, keep it together.
I mean, if you think... I respect your opinion.
Lay it out.
Sorry.
Lay it out.
I respect your opinion. But I'm just saying, I asked about money.
Yeah.
Because... it had been 3 months, almost 4 months, and I got fired, and we're trying to figure this stuff out. Right. And God gave us a number, and it's just like, I want to make sure that if I'm going to have to drive to church every day this far...
that it is worth it.
That it's worth it because Marissa, I like working from home doing this kind of stuff because I can, like, support in some kind of ways being at the house sometimes. If somebody needs to come in the room...
oh, man.
And work with me, or sit in a room while I'm working or go on a walk.
Yes. I'm waiting to interject, but I want you to be able to finish your thought.
You can interject.
Well, okay. So being his wife, watching, being, bystander, knowing your heart and how you operate, like, it's only been 6 years, almost 7, but I know you are like full of purpose. Whatever you're doing has to be on purpose and part of your purpose. Like, God's got to be in it. It's got to have integrity. Like, it's got to be, you know what I mean, all the way. And so you've been wanting to do the men's group for a while. Yeah. And just because of the job.
Anti-Rush Dream Club.
What? just been doing pieces and pieces and like finishing your album or like working with different other creatives. Like it's been like on the weekends, like half the day I'm gonna do it, you know what I mean? Like once a week for 3 hours I'll work on something. And so it takes forever for you to like actually finish it or put it together because you know, once you're in that creative zone, like you just gotta sometimes stay there until like that part of the process is done. And when it gets broken up, as you've explained, as I know, like it's hard to just jump back in 7 days later, and you know, like I only got 2 hours, and maybe because something might happen because I'm working from home.
For sure.
And I just wanted to interject because watching, I'm like, man, God is gonna make him do this men's group. Like he's gonna give him like, you need the time, I'm gonna give you some time. You're fired. Like, you know what I mean? And not that God is that only personality, but just from my perspective, I'm like, man, he's not gonna last much longer like this in that job because I saw you like deteriorating and not being who I know you to be. And like I just knew like, oh, he's about to bust. Like he's about to, you know what I mean? Like he's trying to be corporate and, you know, meet all these needs from all areas, not just the job, but like husband, father, friend, like keep up with like all the other things, work out, eat right, sleep, like, but it ain't holding together, you know? And so when you told me like they're gonna let me go in 3 months or whatever, I'm like, perfect. You got 3 months to set something else up. Like, praise God for giving you, you know what I mean, that out, for giving you the time.
Yeah.
And then you started just bubbling up with, I gotta write a letter, I gotta tell somebody, I gotta talk about it, and then it just was like the thing, and I'm like, oh no, he about to get fired now. Like, what's gonna happen, God? And for like the first time, I felt more at peace than you did, because I could like feel God brewing something, you know, like you gotta do, this is not your purpose, you know what I mean? You're spending all your time doing this. And so I know you did too, but before it happened and immediately it was like a praise God for me. And I think after, you know, like you could see it and feel it also.
I mean, now,
But there was also all of those other things that you talked about that were in your sight and like over you as far as like responsibility. And you were working like your butt off, interviewing and doing everything that you knew to do and needed to do, and like not surprised me because you're a really hard worker, but I was like, man, he's really going in and like not, you know, letting up as far as like something's gonna come through, something's gonna happen. And meanwhile, like God's providing for us still.
For sure.
Like we have never gone hungry, nor the kids, and everything kept falling through. As hard, like as great as everything was, and as hard as you worked, and as many places as you applied to, I'm like, oh, for sure, like it's gonna get that easy, and it would like fall through. I'm like, what's going on? And God would just be like, can y'all do something else? Like, can you do like what I'm wanting you to do? Like, and every time I thought about the men's group for you, and so I just wanted to interject that there. And for that not to get lost, that was always like brewing there in the background and not like a afterthought type of thing.
Yeah, we can talk about it. So I didn't get that job at that church.
Yeah.
I was devastated actually, because it's like, this is going to be the end.
Yes.
We've been
end
struggling.
Of our suffering. Yes.
This is the end right here. It's a position that is fun. I get to lead creatives and disciple creatives, which is something I love. I personally love to do and be a part of. I get to be at a church. I was a creative pastor back when we were in Ohio, and I enjoyed that. Like, I enjoy connecting people, creatives, to the Lord and helping them like live out their purpose with Him. And so I was like, this is cool. I didn't love having to drive like an hour plus every day. The pay was going to be, I think, fine. We needed to work out some details that never got worked out. But I was just the person who was going to be on People Lead. I was excited to work with him. The people I met, I was excited about that. I was just excited because the organization seemed like it was growing and moving and really diverse. And it's just like, man, it was just so devastating. Mostly because it's like, I think which was an idol to me of like, we can just get back to life as usual, right? Our daughter was in school.
Yeah.
It was like, over $300 a month for her to be in school. She was in swim class. It's just like, I want to keep this going. Like, I want to keep our life going as
it was
is.
Comfortable.
Yeah.
It got comfortable.
Yeah. I wanted that. And so yeah, when I got that job, I was hurt, man.
And it wasn't even, yes, it was, and any relationship, like, make it clear. Just make it clear, yes or no. I don't want to be with you.
Yeah, it was kind of like this ambiguous thing. It was like
not even a no. It was like, well, like literally word for word. Well, it's not a no, but it's not a yes.
Right now, yeah.
I'll call you later. And then like no call. Like what? How do you like?
And I just was chasing this person.
Right. And so I love that God made you resolve the no on the inside of you. Like, do you want the job or not? And you're like, after a while, after thinking about it, you were like, no. It's like you had to resolve the no in yourself instead of letting them, it was a rejection, but like instead of them giving you a clear no. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I think God did that. Well, why do you think God did that?
You can say it.
I think God did that so that you can move on. Like, in a relationship, for example, if you're forced out the relationship, you're still craving for it because you think you've lost something and it's also good. Yeah, but if God helps you realize the no on your own, then you can just make that clean cut and step away free, not connected and like being in bondage to that old thing.
For sure. I mean, and to your point, once I think about it, the organization is young. Everybody on the staff is young. Like, starting with the lead pastor to, like, all the people leading it. So many of them people were, like, my age, like, younger than me.
Yeah.
Or around the same, I'm 36, around the same age, which isn't bad. But he spoke about them not having a lot of experience on the spiritual maturity when it comes to creativity. And so I would bring spiritual maturity in following God, being disciplined in the spiritual disciplines and leading a team, right? And it's just like, I've believed that the way that God has been growing me and maturing me would rub against the way that they were doing things because they're running fast, at least from an internal speed. Like, they're running fast. And that was a lot of conversations. Like, we're running fast. We're like Apple in the first few years, like Google in the first few years. And I was just wondering, like, in my prayer time, my reflection time, like, I just came from an organization that's going fast. And even the person who told me about the job, he's a fast runner. So when he told me about the job, I'm like, do I want to? Because he moves fast. Like, there's nothing wrong with that if that's what you do. But, like, the Anti-Rush Dream Club, which is the private men's community she's talking about, we'll get into that more later. But, like, that's what God has given me. And it's about pursuing purpose without burnout. And so a lot of the stuff that I saw upon examination and reflection is like, it's going to lead me to burnout. It's going to lead me to burnout at this organization because some of the answers I wanted weren't going to line up with our values. And so didn't get that job. But then, we haven't been paying some of our bills. We haven't been paying some of our bills, mainly rent. And so you get this letter, like, you ain't been paying your rent. And then there's another letter, like, hey, you ain't been paying your rent. You get another letter, like, hey, you haven't been paying your rent. Then you get another letter, like, hey, you ain't been paying your rent. Then you get another letter, like, hey, we're going to tell the court that you ain't been paying your rent.
Oh, gosh.
And if the court says something, you're going to have to get out. So that's what we got. We got the notice of intent to file an eviction. And scary, super scary.
Yeah.
Super scary. And so as a husband, I'm feeling shame. I feel like a failure. I'm like going through it. Like, God, what do I do? What do we do? What do we do? Like, what do we do? Like, family has helped a bit, but like, we need, like, what do we do?
Yeah.
And so, like, someone could say just like, get up, go hard every day. But it's like, man, I told y'all I'm working through anxiety. So, right, like I have a routine to help that stay at bay within my life, spiritual disciplines, working out. Like there's stuff I need to do or else I'm going to be not useless in this kind of situation of like the storm is raging all around you and I got to stay focused on Jesus. Like without the routine that I've built around not being anxious and depressed, it just takes time. It takes time. And with 2 toddlers in the house, my wife watching them, like, there's not this, like, go hard, bury yourself in the room for 18 hours a day and get it done. Like, that's not how God has been directing us to live our life.
Right.
He's wanted us to live a life of balance. But let me tell you, he came through with all those bills. Rent, I don't know. Like, we couldn't pay it. It's pretty high. And so at that point, working through shame, shout out to our community group again.
Yeah.
Working through shame, man, we were working through shame. I'm working through shame. I'm working through all these, like, asking people for money, figuring out going to food banks and, like, scrambling all the time to meet our needs. And we get this eviction stuff, and I'm like, God, what do we do? And one day, cleaning the kitchen, I just hear this question in my spirit, like, what would you do? What was the question I asked you? What would you do if you could do anything right now? Like, what would you do? What was the question? It was like...
something like if you could do anything, or if we got, like, a big lump sum of money or something like that.
I think it was if we could do anything, like, what would we do right now? I feel like God wanted us to take us out of our current circumstance and ask that question. Because, like, when you say that, automatically the world opens up.
Yeah.
So I feel like I was in the kitchen cleaning the dishes one day, and I felt like I should ask that to Marisha. And you said, this is in the middle of evictions, bills, the whole world feel like it's just collapsing.
Yeah.
After not getting the job.
I was like, get an RV, travel with the kids. Travel around.
She said that before, like a year ago or something, and then when she said that, I was just like, all right. I mean, I couldn't see it, right, because of all the stuff that's in my purview, but I said, okay. But she lit up, right? That's important. As a husband, for me, there's a lot of stuff that I get to do that she supports, but there's not many things. Do I want to say it that way? I don't want to say there are not many things, but the things that we talk about that she's excited about, I want to do that. Like, I want to do that because you support me in so many things and so many ideas.
That's awesome.
And so...
yeah, it had been brewing for a little bit. Like, I remember after that last no from that job, I was like, just take a break from applying anywhere.
Can I jump in right there?
Yeah.
With the break, God had been saying to me, yes, he was, okay, yes, thank you. So Marisha's been talking about me doing the men's community, which is something that's been on my heart for 2 years. I even hired a business coach to help me do with it. Shout out to Marlena Banks. I have been working on that for 2 years, working on music. I'm a hip-hop artist. I felt this. We would talk about it. She's like, why don't you just start your men's community? Why don't you take clients for branding? Like, why don't you do some of this stuff? And I'm like, man, we got to, like, that's going to take time to set up. Like, you know, it takes time to set up these businesses. It takes time to get clients. It takes time. And I've been in that situation before when we just get married or before we got married where I was like, yeah, I'm going to start taking clients. I'm going to do this stuff. And I just totally underestimated how long it would take to actually generate income, or got super anxious and wasn't able to generate income because I was a mess and fell behind on bills. And I was like, I can't do that right now because I got to be responsible. I got, you and the kids, and we got this rent. We got so much stuff to take care of. I need to go with the sure bets. And so after that 3 months, and I feel like God kind of was saying that sometimes too, asking me that same question. She was asking, like, why don't you start this stuff? And so when that fell through, to your point about take a break, I felt like God was speaking through you and saying, like, I remember, I think doing the dishes again, he was like, so it's been 3 months and I've sustained you. Mm-hmm. Do you, like, you told me, this is what he said. He said, you told me that if you had 3 months that you knew I was going to take care of you, that you would start these ideas, these businesses. Mm-hmm. It's been 3 months. Do you think I can do it again? Mm-hmm. At that point, and my wife, Marissa, her blessing of like, you should do this stuff. I was like, how could I say no?
Which is not me.
It is.
It is.
Sometimes, but that's not your natural, like, disposition. Yes. And so, yeah, I started, in that time I started doing that stuff, and I asked you that idea and you said that, and I was, we kind of talked about it a little bit. We went to a conference. The guy started confirming some stuff around the RV. And, like, my main thing was, like, I don't, like, what is that? Yeah, what are we going to do? Like, why? Like,
I think you kind of even laughed at it, like, oh, that's a fun idea or something like that.
Like, why would we do that? Like, how would we earn money? Why would people help us? Like, why? You know, last time it was like, we're just married, we're doing this tour, we got these things to offer. Yeah. But, like, this time it's like, I don't feel like we got anything to offer. Like, we don't, like, what do we, you know what I mean? Like, what can we do? And so God started moving on our hearts. But then one night, he started moving on our heart, confirming some stuff, speaking to me about this stuff. And one night, Marisha was talking about it. You know, like, I think we should just, like, sell our stuff and just go and do it. Because I was thinking with the RV stuff, like, maybe we start getting income and then we start doing it later or, like, something like that. And she was like, we should just do it now. We should start selling stuff and just go. And I, like, spazzed on her. And I'm really sorry for that, too, still. But, like, I was like, no, what are you talking about? What's wrong with you? I didn't say it like that, but, like, it was that kind of tone, but it was fear. It came off as anger, but it was fear.
Yes, you literally got up and left the room.
It was deep fear.
It was like, stop talking to me about this.
It was deep fear in me of, like, I don't know what the future's going to hold. This is going to look stupid to all the men I respect around me. My parents are going to call me crazy. I mean, which has happened before, but, like, and then, like, when we finished the tour the first time, so many people said, y'all ain't going to be able to do that with kids once I start having kids, so y'all better do it now.
Right.
I kind of accepted that. I can't lie. And we have kids. I'm like, how we, like, these are two toddlers with a lot of energy and super curious, and, like, they can get so wild, and it's just like, how are we going to do this with kids, bro? Like, no, we're not doing that, Marissa. Like, the kids need stability, all the stuff that people have said to me, I was regurgitating to her. And fear came up, and then the like, I don't know how this is going to end, right? If I'm working at a job, it can end. I can get fired or something, but, like, you know how it's going to end. Like, this thing, like, what if we out there with the kids and this ain't going well? Like, you know what I mean? And I was so concerned with what people thought about me, what people would say, and the shame of, like, I'm a husband. I'm going to be out here looking like I'm irresponsible. Mm-hmm. We supposed to
That's
have, like,
real. Those are real, yeah.
We supposed to have a 401k. We ain't got no 401k. We supposed to have
all the
savings for retirement. We ain't got no savings for retirement. I mean, I'm sure the Lord got something stored up for us, but, like, on earth, I don't see it yet. You know what I'm saying? Like, all this, you know, I was like, all this societal stuff that I thought that, like, we follow God doing that tour. Now we're going to do something different, live our life differently. We ain't going to be trusting God like that anymore. Like, it's going to be different. We're going to have a 401k. We're going to have the houses and the cars and stuff. We still going to trust God, but we're going to be wild. We ain't going to just jump out like that.
We'll start a small group.
Yeah. It was like and that's not wrong, but, like, this is stuff that, like, this is, you know, I just thought, like, I was comfortable. And so God used that to stir it all up. And I went to go, speak with the Lord. And I just knew the fear came out because she was saying the right thing, right? It was the right thing to do. It was just so hard to accept. This is the first time in our marriage that we've been able to buy things. Like, you can't see, but there's we got a TV, we got this Peloton right here, we've been able to curate our life. The kids got nice things, and it's just like, man, we just gonna sell all of that. Like, all that fear just rose up in me, and I I lashed out. But then we got past that, had some more confirmation. Our small group, gosh, always encouraging us, helping us process this stuff through. Yeah. We processed it together, prayed about it more, and God helped us to see it more, helped me to see what she was talking about, and we said yes as a family.
Yes, we said yes. And it was
we said yes to getting in the RV, traveling the United States.
Yeah.
We thinking like 6 months to a year, really a year. Interviewing people about how they're saying yes to the great unknown God is calling them to do with our children in a Class A motorhome. We still have yet to get that.
Right. We love the ones with the bunk beds,
Yes.
For the kids to have a separate space. The little door, the little sliding door for the bedroom.
For the bedroom for us.
A little privacy.
Bow chicka wow.
A little privacy. Something, Yeah. We've never done it before. I didn't grow up with family that went on vacations in motorhomes.
Me neither.
RVing, none of that.
We went on vacation. We went on family reunions, which was the closest to a vacation.
RV or a motorhome.
But not in the RV, no.
Yeah. I just learned the difference between an RV and a motorhome. But, yeah. I mean, the more we think about it, the more we feel like this is the way God's led us to do it. Create some sense of stability and consistency for the kids to have like their own beds and own space instead of like sleep in different places or having the issue of like, we don't have a place to sleep tonight. What are we going to do? Like that takes that out of the equation, which was one of the biggest issues for me with kids. And it's been a struggle for me too. I think God is just given a lot of grace so that I can be a support for you. And when I think about it, I'm like, I feel how you are saying, like all the things that you're saying, I feel sometimes. But when I go to talk to you about it or pray about it, I just am excited and feel like this is like what I'm meant to do, like what we're meant to do, like even as a family, this is what we're meant to do right now.
And like even more so built for, like designed for.
Yeah.
Right? Like LeBron James is not designed to play golf.
Yeah.
He could play golf, but we can see how he's designed because it's been almost 20 years and he's still one of the best athletes. Like there's a certain design that I've had to become acquainted with, like maybe this is a part of our design as people and as a family of like
and
missional type of work.
Absolutely like when I think of it that way, or when I hear God talk to me about it, it makes total sense. But when I just think of my natural thoughts of like RVing, I'm like, I'm not a camper. Like I like camping, but I think about camping and being around campfires all the time. It's like that's not what it's all about, And the people that we're going to be speaking to, and just how God gave the idea, when He gave the idea, what we'll be doing, what it'll look like. I know that it's God and not me, because I'd rather be totally comfortable like in a home with everyone have their own rooms.
For sure.
And be going to some school or daycare and piano classes. And that could be the future.
For sure.
But for right now, it's not. And I'm willing to say yes to God. You know what I mean? Just to see not only what it brings for us, but for other people.
Yeah.
I don't know who needs to hear this or who needs the support. I know that Our friends Miranda and her family have been a huge encouragement. Yeah. Like, she's traveling full-time RV, and she told me about this before God even gave us the idea. It's just like we just started connecting more, and now I know why. Like, oh, snap. And then we found a family online that we started watching.
More Journey. Shout out to you guys.
Man. Our kids love watching.
That helped transform our mind about doing it with kids because they have small children. And so God really used them to transform, like, okay, it's possible. Yes. Like, someone else is doing it with Tyler.
Yes, and not just living in one spot in the RV, but, like, traveling and, like, going on adventures and seeing the world and meeting new people and still having community and having fun, still, like, thriving in your marriage, like, just loving each other, getting closer with each other, and that being the priority. So that's been really encouraging also. So how can you support?
All right. A few different ways. So I have a branding business.
Yes.
Where I help people launch their brand, launch their business. I help people create a brand kit, find their customers. We'll put more details about. There's more details about that on our website, but you can support that if you have a small business or know somebody that needs that kind of work, design, website design. We can talk about that more. Yes. But it's a branding company.
If you'd like to partner with us in other ways, like...
So the Anti-Rush Dream Club, this is a private men's community where I'm together with fathers and husbands, helping them to pursue their purpose without burnout. Mm-hmm. And so we build a custom strategy together and journey together as a community to live a fulfilling life with a family, with children, in a society that rewards us for crashing and burning. And so as people, as men following God, it's important for us to be in community to do this. And for the people, especially creatives who are susceptible to burnout, let's do it together. That's on our website too. That's a Patreon subscription. You have this podcast. We're going to do a Patreon for this. And then you can give a one-time donation where we have links for that. You can help us month to month. This is what we need. We need month-to-month subscribers, month-to-month ministry partners to cover, like, the cost of things, specific costs, right? Because some people are like, I don't want to give, like, money, but I'll cover a bill. So we need phone bill. We need the cost of the RV covered. We need
gas.
We need gas covered. Lodging. We need lodging covered. We need, did I say phone bill? Phone bill covered. We need food covered. The cost of creating this podcast, we need that covered. We need a new laptop because we have a huge desktop and it is very slow. It's about 10 years old and it's very slow when it comes to editing this kind of stuff and getting that stuff out fast to you all. Yeah. We need we need a camera to do this because we're shooting this on the phone, which is fine, but I have no idea how I'm going to transfer these 1-hour videos to our computer. So there's a whole...
And the motorhome.
Yeah, I said that.
You did?
Pay for the motorhome. Yes, we need somebody to give us or pay for the motorhome.
Yeah. I think if we had the motorhome, like, today... Do you think we would leave?
Yes.
We would leave.
Well, we would finish selling this stuff.
Yes. So we're in the process now of selling the rest of our stuff.
If we need to start without the motorhome, we will.
Oh, snap. Okay. So we've sold a few things, but we need to sell the rest of our stuff.
Yeah.
So you could pray for that to happen or you could buy something. And we need to...
But we'll have a list also. We'll have a list of all the ways you can support, but all the itemized on our website. All the itemized things that you can pay for on our monthly expenses. But keep going, please. You're talking about support.
The motorhome. The motorhome to me is like the main thing. Like,
Class A motorhome. We need a Class A motorhome with a TV, with the kid, where the kids can
Have their own little space, the beds.
Yes. Do you want to get our big poster board to talk about what we want in a motorhome?
Okay. Not right now.
If you ask, we'll tell you what we want in a motorhome. But a Class A. We need a Class A.
Or you know what I saw?
That's like 2 years old or less.
A renovated travel buses.
Yes.
Not the yellow school bus, but like
no. Yeah. Julie just got one, by the way.
Not the school bus.
I know, but I'm saying like.
The big like travel buses that go from like state to state or something.
Yeah. I'm saying like whatever it is that you got, if it's not a Class A motorhome, it just needs to be livable.
Something we can drive.
A married couple, we can drive. Tow our car.
Existing car.
Kids have spaces.
For kids, yes.
Space for TV, desk for them to work and create and paint. A space for us to work and create.
Yeah.
Do this. Able to have Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
We need bathroom in that joint, shower. Just hit us up. What support do we have?
That's it.
Yeah, that's what we. Anything else? What you got?
No. Stay tuned. We'll be doing more of these, and we'll talk about, like we mentioned the first one, we'll get into the story of how we met, the God story of how we met and got together. And maybe we'll do, I don't know if we'll do one thing of like our last tour, but maybe like here and there we'll have little stories of maybe each state that we visited of
Story time
with Edmonson's of our 2016 tour, because man, it was crazy. And we'll be interviewing couples here in D.C. before we leave, so stay tuned for those.
For sure.
After that, I think not our first stop, but first couple may be in New York.
Yeah.
Yeah.
New York City.
So stay tuned and leave feedback. If you like what you hear, if you're connecting with us, if it's too long, if it's too short, if you want to hear more stories about something, if you want us to expound or talk about some specific things, let us know.
Yeah.
If you're just meeting us, hit us up, and we'd love to get to know you more. We're all about community. And if you already know us, send us a shout out. Let us know you're watching. We'd love to hear from you, too.
Our socials are in the description. You can find our socials. That's it.
Okay.
That's it. I'm good. You good?
I'm good.
All right. I love you. I'm hungry, too.
I love you, too.
We need to get the kids. I love you. Thank you. We did it. We did this. We did it. This is huge for us. So thank you for joining us.
Yeah.
We love you. God bless you. And say yes to the great unknown God is calling you to. Peace. We did it.